Welcome to One Man at a Time, the KEMEN Show. Please like and subscribe to our channel.
The KEMEN Show. We are strong together.
Good morning, wherever you are, all over the world. We welcome you to Diaspora Media Max Radio, this family, faith, and health focus show presented to you by KEMEN. I'm your host, Alex Marina, and I can see all my guests today. They are here. We have young people today as our guests. As you can see here, we have Nyoro and we have Esther Waigumo here. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. We're going to have young people presenting today. Going to be here, going to be sitting down, listening, and actually learning more about the young people. And as Margaret told us last week, we are having a disconnect between the young generation and older generation. There is a digital versus analog, and they seem to disconnect somehow. And now today we're going to be focusing on some issues that has to do with young people, and Margaret will dig deep into that. And also here we have also Esther, and Esther going to be talking, challenging young people out there, and she's going to be telling us what she's doing and what she has been up to. And I welcome you, all our viewers from all over the world. Welcome to Diaspora Media Max. This is a family, faith, and health focus show. We come here every Saturday. We talk about things that touches the whole family, and it's presented by KEMEN. KEMEN is an organization that helps men in diaspora. You are men there in diaspora, especially in the United States. And you have issues going on. There are so many issues of this life. You have be marriage issues, be social issues. Even for young people, for young men in this country, you come in here in the United States, you are new, you don't know how to navigate the country. You have some challenges in that you don't know how the system, to navigate the system, in the challenges of the system. Coming to KEMEN, we'll help you. Talk to me, talk to Mr. the president of KEMEN, Mr. Anthony Come now, and we'll be able to help you. Don't sit down there and suffer alone. So this KEMEN is KEMEN.org. It's 254 KMEN.org. As I said, 254 KEMEN.org, and you'll be able to connect with us. You can call me, you can call Diaspora Media Max Radio, and you'll be able to connect with us. Thank you very much. And how is our guest doing? We're going to start with Margaret. Tell us how you are doing, what you're up to, and then you're going to go to Esther. Tell us how you are doing, and you with your sister there, and what you have for us today. Thank you very much, and welcome, Margaret.
Thank you, Alex. So hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. So I'm Margaret Wanyoro. I've been very okay since the last time I was here. That's last Saturday. That's a week ago. And let's see what we'll talk about today. It will be hot. That one I know. So thank you
very much. Thank you very much. You're gonna be doing something with adolescence and sexuality. It'll be hot as you have had. Okay, let's go to Esther, and Esther, introduce yourself, and you're gonna go directly without wasting any time. Tell us what you have for us today. Also.
Hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Esther, and I'm here with my colleague Olivia, and we have prepared for you a presentation for what you do.
Hi guys.
Hi.
My name is Olivia. We work with Esther. We are property consultants.
Property consultant.
Yeah. We are from a company called Finsco.
Say that one more time.
We are from a company called Finsco. That's Finsco. Where we. Yeah. That's where.
Cool. Let us know what you do, and tell us what you do, and how our viewers can benefit from what you do as young people.
So as young people, well, we can introduce some other young people to invest in property, because not so many young people are investing in property.
Mm-hmm.
From what we have seen so far from the clients we have dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
So we are here to also let the young people know that when they have an opportunity, they can invest in property.
What kind of a property do you sell? What services do you have? Because young people may not have in the money to buy the property.
Yeah, it's true. But you can start somewhere. It can start with a dream. But today we have some property from Riverline Ridges. They are located in Riru. It's 5 kilometers off Thika Road. You take the exit 13, and then you'll get to the place. So there's some nice serviced plots with electricity, kuna stima, kuna barabara, tarmac. So we have different sizes of the land. We have an eighth of an acre. We have a quarter acre, which goes, the quarter acre goes for 4.5 million.
4.5 million.
And then the eighth of an acre goes for 2.5 million. So it's a nice location. If you're around the place, then you can contact us. You can come and view.
So so with this with the property you have, is it commercial? Is it residential? What is it?
They're residential.
So you are in Roiro.
Yeah, it's
and
in Roiro.
And you have commercial properties for an 8 is 2.5 million Kenyan shillings. That's $25,000. And a quarter of an acre is 4.5 million, which is $45,000 US dollars, I mean. And you are in Roiro, and that's what you do. And tell us, as young people, how did you get to this job of, because there are so many young people who are saying that there's no jobs out there in Kenya. You have to get to know somebody, to be connected to somebody, to do something. So how do you get to this job of selling properties? Because what I've seen, like in all these other even big companies that are selling properties, be it RAD, be it homes, be it housing, be it anything, they are having young people go out there as salesperson. But on the flip side, you have so many young people saying that there's no jobs.
Right, that's true. Well, I can say, personally, I didn't study selling property or just being a salesperson, but because of how, after school, it can be challenging to find a job. So for us, we took it upon ourselves. We approached the company itself, and then we told them, we can try selling this land. So we approached the company.
So you are open to running new things. You are open to train on a different for different jobs.
Right. Yeah.
And so the challenge here with for all those other young people out there, including Margaret over here, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. So there are jobs that people, even those young people who are saying that there's no jobs, they need to be flexible, to be open a little bit, to figure out, well, I went to school for this course. I have a degree. I have a bachelor's in mathematics. I have a bachelor's in education. I have a bachelor's in aquatics or marine biology. But the only job I can get right now is selling properties, to be a salesperson. So I have to adapt to this level, be willing to train, and get into this career.
Yeah, that's true. I think the young people need to be more open to learning new things. They need to be flexible to adapt to the situation. If they get an opportunity, they should grab it, even if it's not related to the course that they studied.
Thank you very much, because we have so many people who are saying, even here in the United States, we have so many people who are saying that, oh, I went to college for, I'm an accountant. You cannot tell me to go do this and this and that. I'm this. Myself, I wear too many hats. I have a bachelor degree in mass communication, TV and video production. I have a Bachelor of Science in nursing. So I am pretty much everywhere. I charge young people. I also have a foundation that I run, and I didn't know anything. I started running this from scratch. I didn't know anything. I just did my own research, and I find out that yes, this is something I can do. And in the process, I have run so many things, and I would like to encourage young people, even if you go to school for this degree. My scenario, I went to school for mass communication, have a Bachelor's of Arts in TV and video production. And then the recession came in 2006, 2007, 2008. When I was there, I was still working in nursing homes. And guess what? I went where the money was, and since I was already in that field, I did train. There was nothing to adapt to because I had already been in the healthcare for about 7-8 years already. So for the young people, I challenge them to go, even if you go to college for a CPA, for economics degree, for an IT degree, are you willing to adapt? Can you become a farmer? Margaret, if you are an educator, if the education says if there's COVID, you're going to close the schools, can you find yourself in farming or doing something else?
Absolutely, yes.
Would you
yes,
would you swallow your pride and say, you know what, if life gives you lemon, decide what you're gonna do with the lemons?
I make lemonade instead of
and
throwing it away.
Make profit out of it.
You're right.
So ladies, about your services, I applaud you for your services, and I applaud you for your efforts. And I'm gonna tell our viewers who are watching us all over the world that these ladies are selling properties in Roiro, and as you have heard, they have properties for 2.5 million Kenyan shillings. That's $25,000. That's an aid. And my understanding, is it residential or is it commercial area?
They're residential. Serviced plots.
So how far are you from the airport? Jomo Kenyatta Airport. That's what most people want to know. Or how far are you from the tarmac road? How are you far from the city center, the central business district?
From the CBD, it's around maybe 15, 18 kilometers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but from the main road is 5 kilometers.
Okay, you're gonna find I'm gonna have a producer pin your information there on a comment section, and we'll go from there, and your phone numbers, we go from there. And now we're gonna, without wasting any further due time, we're gonna go to our main topic of the day, and I'm gonna have our guest Margaret introduce our topic for today. I'm gonna be here listening to the young people, and the young people stay right there because we're gonna have a very nice debate. And I'm old school, so you're new school. So many things that you're gonna agree and disagree on, and that's how life it is. Margaret, your time, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Alex. And Esther, you people are doing a good job. So as I said earlier, I'm Margaret Wanyoro, and today I want us to talk about adolescent health and sexuality. And as Alex has said, interestingly, I think on this we agree, we disagree, we fight at times. But the good thing is that we always get to a conclusion at times. Well, not every time, but at times. Maybe Esther and the friend will agree with me. Now, maybe I need to first say, when we talk of adolescents and young people, we are talking of people aged 10 years, 24 years. According to what the health policy in Kenya especially categorizes adolescents and young people, that is from the age of 10 and 24 years. And so generally, when you're talking of adolescents and young people's health, you realize that there's a very big gap in this space where, these people at times they're treated as children, at times they're treated as adults. It all depends on the context. And so you realize that when one is below the age of 10, especially, you realize that kids are taken so much care of. They'll be taken for vaccination, polio vaccine. They used to do, even their diet is so much looked at. And but then when one gets to around the age of 10 years, 10, 12 and above, you realize that no one really takes care of you. No one is really interested in your health. And you realize that this is the most crucial part in a person's life, because you realize that this is the younghood, and after there now unapata the person now gets to the next level, which is now adulting, which is can be crazy at times. So this is what I want us to talk about now, this age group and their sexuality, what sexuality is, why it's important, and we also need to talk of the myths around this topic, because it's a topic that especially most parents or most older people don't really agree with the importance of sexuality, and when we talk of educating young people on this topic. So that's what I want us to talk about today.
So who should educate them?
generally, I think the society in general, so I say that the society has the responsibility to prepare young people by providing them with appropriate sex education, tools which will help them to go through the tough choices that are in teenagehood and also through the journey to adulting. So the society has to, we have to educate ourselves from our peers, our parents, our teachers, everyone has to be a part of this.
Yeah, you just answered my question. So should this be introduced in school, early in school, and how early? You go ahead and continue.
Apparently, I think that of course it should be introduced in schools, and it should even start from our homes before even a kid gets to PP1 or to nursery. It's something they should have learned. It's something that should be introduced to them, because on this we talk of appropriate sex education, which is age-based, of course. So yes, it should be introduced.
So you're saying that well, when we talk about PP1, those are very young people. So at what age should kids start be introduced to sexuality?
Okay, so let me focus on the kids that are in PP1. So you realize that when you're talking of sexuality
and how old
education,
are those kids in PP1? When you say PP1,
they are actually 5 years old.
Huh?
So when they are 5 years old. So when I talk of Alex, and now this is where I needed to get in. So when we talk of sex education, and we talk of appropriate sex education, you realize that it's not a one-time thing. It's something that should be so much continuous. So when you're talking of sex education to a kid that is 5 years old, what are we telling them? So you realize that this kid needs to know on the issues to do with their bodily autonomy, that if this person touches a certain part of my body, I should report to someone, because that's not okay. If maybe another person maybe does something to me, for example, because you realize that kids as young as 5 years are defiled. So they need to know that if a person touches a certain part of me, that's not okay, and they should report somewhere. So from the age of 5, they should start knowing on their bodily autonomy. Yes. Yeah.
So we only tell the kids that if a grown-up touches you on this part, you're gonna have to report to mommy and daddy.
Yes, actually, not just a grown-up, anyone, whether it's their age or grown-up, anyone. Yes.
So what about your age mate? Okay, a 5-year-old. I have a 5-year-old, and they have friends who are 5-year-olds. If they touch, so they should report to anyone. So that's what you're telling us, our viewers.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
What do you think about that, Esther? And yeah.
Well, personally, I think it's true. Kids should be they should be free with their parents, so that if they experience any sexual contact with maybe their peers or maybe older people, they should be able to report them.
All right, moving on. So now you already tell them, okay, 70 touches you, fine, report to the teacher. Okay, let's go to the let's now go to the next level.
Now, I know that this one will be so much interesting. And so that is for the young ones. And so what I'm saying is to start with, that it should be something continuous. So this kid is maybe from the age of 5 years to 9 years. We've told them that if anyone touches you, you should report, and you should not touch anyone either inappropriately. So as we go on, now you realize that from the age of 10 years, now this is where young boys and girls, they are now getting to the age of puberty. So this is where young girls will start menstruating.
Curiosity will kick in. We told them it's bad to be touched, but now they have already realized it's not bad.
Now, from the age of 10, you realize now we get to the issues of puberty and reproduction. So you realize that this is where you realize that as much as curiosity is kicking in, you also realize that they can also start to get aroused sexually, which is very healthy actually, because this only means that their body is changing. What now do we need to tell them now on this part? We need to explain to them the various changes that are happening in their body. because you realize that during adolescence, most people get so much confused on what's happening, especially most kids. So we don't want this girl to be ambushed by her menstruation. We want her to know that this is normal and it's okay to do this. I mean, it's okay to experience this. And
who should be doing that? Should not be the mother telling their girls about, teaching them about menstrual cycle and all that.
Apparently,
not be scared about it and what it is. Should they be prepared before or during or after?
Apparently, it should be before, or if for the early maturers those that ambush maybe their parents, it should be maybe during. It's either before or during. And maybe if a parent probably happens to realize that it's now happening and my child didn't get to tell me, I think it's okay to tell them in whichever part that finds you. But then you realize if you started this conversation early enough, for example, from the age of 5, this child will be very comfortable telling you that, mom or dad, I'm experiencing this, I'm having blood flowing from my vagina. So you realize that if it's continuous, then it's even easier because it will be more of a free and friendly discussion between a mother or a father and their child.
A father, I would say a mother, unless they are raised by their father. What do you think, Esther? No, what do you think about that issue, Esther? Okay? This is a perfect example. It's all of you, there, 3 of you. Would you be able? How free would you be to approach your father on that issue?
Well,
let's be honest.
It would be awkward, but I also agree that maybe the father could have a role to play. Because I remember personally, when I was young in primary school, because the boys in school were not taught these things about the cycle. So they were the ones fooling the girls when they would experience the menstrual cycle. You see, the education should also go to the boys themselves so that when the girl is starting her periods, the boy already knows what is happening.
What's going on? Okay. We can teach our boys, but not we're going to teach our girls about that. Go ahead.
Alex, also, when we say that it's only mothers that should play a part in educating their girls on the issues to do with periods, how about the fathers that are raising their daughters single-handedly? What will happen to such daughters?
And that's what I said. If they are being raised by their fathers as single dads, and they are who are, God forbid, there are people who are being raised by their fathers, and maybe their mothers passed away, and God have mercy on them, and the fathers, I can tell they have a difficult time, and it's not gonna be easy, and that's where the aunts and cousins come in, and they can have these issues. All right, continue.
So apparently there's a campaign that we've been having on issues to do with involving men and boys in menstruation, because you realize that when you talk about menstruation, this is a phenomena that is happening to half of the population, of more than a half actually of the world population. And with this means that each and every person has to be involved in this, because this girl will be meeting men and boys out here. And you realize that there's so much stigma around menstruation. And it not only comes from boys. You realize that, as Esther has said it looks so awkward to tell a father that one is menstruating. But then I also try to ask myself, why would it be so much awkward? Yet this is a man who actually understands what happens naturally in a woman's body. So what will happen if maybe I soil my clothes, maybe I'm in town and I don't even know, and it's men that are behind me? Will they be laughing at me, or will they protect me as their sister, or as someone they know, whether a stranger or not, and maybe just do away with the embarrassment? Maybe give me their sweater to wrap around me, maybe buy me some sanitary towels and such.
But how would what would be a 20 and 12-year-old be doing in a city, walking by themselves with no parents?
It could be that they are with their parent or not. And actually, how about those that actually live in the
and that's why I say if your father knows, it's mature, and they know, we can educate them what to do.
Yes, exactly. Educate them on what to do, but
Yeah,
not
if
do away
you are
with them.
you are father there, you have you are 12-year-old, you are walking around the street, you are taking them back to school, or you're picking them up from a visiting, they come from a private school, and boom on the street in middle of nowhere. This thing happened. What do you react?
Alex, I don't like your facial expression when you're saying that.
Why you don't like my facial expression?
No, I don't like it.
What do I do? It happens.
Well, yeah, it does. But
It
yeah.
happened to my teacher in class in Form 2, and she was wearing a mini skirt. And boom, here we are watching a free show. And she's so embarrassed, she's asking the girls, does anyone has a pad? And I'm like, wow, she didn't know it was coming. You should be, at least be ready for that. But here
it's not every time people get to know, but
you're talking about a 12-year-old here, though. This 12-year-old doesn't know, starting it, experiencing it, but boom. So, what as a father, what do you do? That's why we are getting educated. Go ahead.
Okay. So apart from that, you also asked what else maybe a 10, 12-year-old should be told when it gets to sex education. So you talked of the issue of curiosity. So you realize they'll be so much curious on issues to do with sex because they are also experiencing emotional changes. So you realize that they'll be relating, they'll be trying to relate intimately with the opposite gender. So you realize that on this is the point where we now need to tell them on the issues to do with understanding healthy and unhealthy relationships. And we need to tell them what does a healthy relationship involve at their age. So you realize someone that is 12 years old to 19 years, this person is either in primary school or in high school, or they are now starting college. So you realize on this, when you're telling them about relationships, what exactly do we tell them? We need to tell them how to relate with this other gender and what may happen. And this is not I'm not talking about what we were told while growing up, that you'll get pregnant because I'm seeing you with a certain boy, you'll get pregnant. So you realize we should actually tell them as it is. Like, if you engage with this boy sexually, you can get STIs, you can contract HIV.
Thank you. So, and this is where we need to educate the young people, because when the parents talk, our parents talk to us, they say, "Ukicheza, if you play with a boy, you're gonna get pregnant." Us growing up, the biggest thing was HIV. If you go play with those girls, you're gonna get pregnant. So what kind of a play? Oh, you're gonna get HIV. What kind of a play is this? That I'm gonna play with them, I get pregnant. Some of them will be like, I don't know what to play. We should be telling, if you have sex, you're gonna get STD. You have sex, you're gonna get pregnant, girl. And if you have sex, my boy, you are 15-year-old, you're gonna go have sex with girls. You're going to make them pregnant, and you're going to bring that girl here. You're going to be taking care of her. And that's what's going to happen. But when we don't tell them, I think somebody who is over 12 years, 13 years old should be able to be given this conversation of, if you have sex, the sex word should be introduced at about age 13. It's a good age to start because they start having period about 12 years old. It's a bit early. But at age 13, we should be using real words. Sex. If you have sex with these young boys, if you have sex, this and that's gonna happen.
Yeah, and unfortunately, in the times that we are living in, we have a lot of information around us, starting from the internet to the movies that we are having. So you realize right now, in most households, maybe the middle class households especially, you realize that they can access Netflix. You realize that kids can access smartphones anytime, even where we are right now in Kenya. So what does that mean? Young people or adolescents and young people, they'll get all sorts of information, both false and true information, factual and non-factual. So what does that mean? They need a reliable source of information. Because you also realize that most young people currently in the era that we are living in, from the age of 12 years, you realize that they are exposed to issues like to do with pornography. So you can imagine pornography is also offering them sex education, but the wrong kind of sexual education, because you realize that there's so much fiction in there, so much.
There are these kids who goes to boarding school since they were started 3. Who are they going to run it from?
Yeah. So when you talk of parents, even educators are parents in one way or the other, because they have their children at home. So what happens? You realize that, well, as much as especially our education policy in Kenya limits us on the issues that, like sexual education generally in our schools is not so much encouraged, but you realize that we have the basics that we can tell them. It's still due to the needs around the issues of sex education. I think people have not really understood it well and what it involves, because unfortunately, when most people, including the learned category in Kenya especially, anytime they hear of sex education, the first thing that comes to their mind is encouraging our kids to have sex. And number 2 is the issue of contraception. But you realize that when you're talking of sex education, there's so much to it. And I think it's really sad when we only focus on the negative side of it, which is not really negative, but on the when we only look at what we want to hear, or when you only focus on beating it and not actually understanding what it involves. I think that's the problem that we are having.
The parents are saying, in other words, you're gonna run it the way you're gonna run it on your own when that time comes. Is that the case? Is that the case where the parent says you're gonna run, the only thing I can tell you is that don't do this because you're gonna get this, but they don't tell you about what to expect as a young person, and the consequences of doing it is what they emphasis on is the consequences, but not the benefits, because if a 13-year-old has all the questions answered by their mom or their dad about sexual education, sexuality, would they be curious to go and try to find out on their own or from their friends? Who gonna give them wrong information and pull out that smartphone and show them about sexuality from a pornography?
So apparently, what happens is, and this has been research that has been done.
Would they be curious and show them about?
So one thing I want to say is that curiosity will still be there. The only difference is that these kids will be making decisions, or they will be choosing from an informed point of view, not from ignorance. If we don't offer these kids, if we don't give them the information that is required, they'll go on and actually make choices, but they'll be choices from an ignorant point of view. And that's very dangerous, because you'll realize that they don't understand the consequences of what they are doing. But if we give them the information, they go make choices. Even if they make choices, they'll be understanding the consequences of what's happening. Yes.
Okay, I have a question for Esther. You went to a boarding high school. How was it there? You are maybe nowadays the kids are going to boarding high school. They are like 14, 15 years old. And when you get in that dormitory, what are the issues, or what are the things that start out about sexuality? Is that something that's been discussed in dormitories with a 17-year-old and 14, 15-year-olds who are freshmen who just come in as monos in high school? How does it go in those high school dormitories?
Personally, I think it progresses with age. Like you find that the Form 1s, they don't discuss it openly. But when you progress to Form 2, Form 3, to Form 4, you find that the subject is discussed openly, and it is, you find that girls discuss better with other girls, and then boys, they group themselves with other boys. So there's no like interaction where girls discuss with boys, they group themselves according to their gender.
So let me ask you, I'm not putting you on the spot, right? But let me ask you, if you're a girl, you are young there, you just joined high school, you're a freshman, or you didn't know anything about sexuality, young person sexuality, nothing. Your mom, your dad, people around you, your aunt, your cousin never told you a word about sexuality, and you are going to get it from your seniors there in high school. the wrong kind of education. So how many people get lost by listening to those people on the wrong kind of education? And the importance of what Margaret is saying, it should be introduced way early in the family, so that so that you be prepared when you get into the high school. So what are the consequences of not knowing anything and hearing it for the first time in high school dormitories?
Can I let my my colleague Olivia to assist me?
Well, I think from my experience in high school, we were so lost, especially most of us who didn't experience that. We didn't get that education from people with older people or our parents, our guardians. So when we were trying to figure it out ourselves, we were lost. We would try different things, see if they work. We would get opinions even from social media. So I could say, I think having that conversation from a young age is so important. It builds up someone to, you get to experience you get to have that education from a young age, and that
you have a background to draw on. You have something you can relate to. You have something you know a little bit of something of it. So even when those criminals, I call them criminals, you know those girls, those know it all from the city of, they're always from the city of Nairobi. They don't know what's wrong with Nairobi. Yeah, kuna watu wa Nairobi, kuna watu wa city, na kuna watu wa kutoka mashambani. You come from mashambani, you don't know anything, and this know it all from the cities. They run the show in the dormitories and everywhere else, in high school, even in the college, they run the show.
Yeah.
And they can mislead you very quick, and if you know how they mislead people very quick, go to Koinaga Street 1 month after enrollment of campuses. All you're going to find there on Koinaga Street is most of the freshmen. They join in September, go in October, end of October. It's going to be most freshmen being taught how to be on the streets. Anyway, Margaret, sorry we get out of the point. Continue.
It's okay. So there's a question you've asked Esther, and I've loved how she's answered that question on the issue that there's a lot of confusion in our schools, especially in our high schools.
It's Olivia.
Oh, it's Olivia. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you realize this. So there's just so much confusion due to the issue of the mob psychology. And unfortunately, when you get wrong information, you end up making wrong choices. And it's quite unfortunate because even after making the wrong choices, still no one comes in to give the right information. So what our young girls and boys get when they make wrong choices and they're now facing the consequences, what they get now is condemnation. But we don't really try to understand, why did they actually do this? Why did they make this choice and not this other one? So, and on this, I'll talk, that brings me to the next point, that when we talk to our young boys and girls on the issues to do with their sexuality, especially during puberty, give them information on puberty and reproduction, you realize that an importance of sex education is that it protects the academic success. Because you realize that we'll experience less school dropouts, because to start with, the young girls will understand that if I have sex right now, if I expose myself to risky sexual behaviors, I'll get pregnant. And if I get pregnant, this will force me out of school. Or I can even get STIs, I can get HIV, or even worse, I can be exposed to cervical cancer. So you realize that once they understand these consequences and they actually adhere to the factual information that they've given, and in return they make yes. So you realize that this will protect their academic success, and I know that this has been proven. it's something that has worked. For if you look at the people, if you look at the young boys and girls that have the right information, they actually they go through school without a lot of confusion because they actually understand, and every choice they make is actually informed.
But I have this one thing that's going on nowadays, and I can say that when young boys are getting mature, they get circumcised. We have already turned to the churches, and the churches, they are just giving them one way. That's my opinion. They are giving them a one-way viewpoint of sex is immoral. Don't engage in sex because it's immoral, and you should be a good Christian. You should be a faithful Christian. You should stay like a Christian. And as if some of these young people have no blood, no emotion, no feeling, nothing. Wouldn't be able if so. The purpose of the church to take them young boys from the old way of rite of passage is to give them the right education, because they say if you go to that rite of passage traditional way, you're going to become a smoker, you're going to become a drunkard, and they teach you bad things. My opinion is bad things, smoking, and pretty much is smoking and being alcoholic, and I don't know, a disobedient kid is a disobedient kid. You're not going to be disobedient because they just hang out with disobedient crowd after they get circumcised. But wouldn't it be nice for the church, and you as an educator there, I know they host a camp in your school, would it be nice for them to get you and talk to them, not only if you have the sex education you want to present is because of this and that and that, these are the consequences, these are the benefits, and you can wait until whenever. Will not be something the church can use other than telling us, hitting us with the Bibles, and thinking that you're gonna get anything from the Bible and sex is immorality at this age. But we come to the age of the youth, then they start telling us, oh, it's not a bad thing, by the way, you can get somebody to get married to. But all these years you've been telling us bad. Even when we get circumcised as young boys, you're telling us it's bad. And all of a sudden you tell us, oh, by the way, you are 20 years old now, you're on your own, you can try to get somebody, but you know nothing about sexuality. Zero, not zip. You are being told that's something very bad. Don't do it.
So maybe before I answer that, let me read something that I wrote here.
Go ahead.
That comprehensive sexual education teaches abstinence as the only 100% effective method of preventing STIs, HIV, unintended pregnancies, and as a valid choice that everyone has a right to take. And so generally, when you're talking of sexual reproductive health, anything, when you're talking of comprehensive sex education, number one, we insist that abstinence is the surest way.
It's not going to happen to everybody. That's a fact.
Yes, so that is a fact. And that is what the church teaches. And that's okay that it teaches that. But it also abandons a very, very large part of a child's life or of this young man's life. Because you realize that this kid will be so much exposed to people who are not religious to start with, people that actually read the Bible but don't follow what it says. And you also realize that it will also be so much confusing because there's also a time, maybe in 10 years' time, after the child has been circumcised, where now the church will tell this child, now it's time, go have as much sex as you want. And now this kid, maybe they'll start asking themselves, wait, what happened? What happened to what you told me before? So I think that that it's time the church actually realizes what's happening out here, and the risk that our young boys and girls are facing out here, because you realize that it's not everyone, it's not each and every child, or it's not each and every adolescent that is in a position to abstain due to various external factors that you are having out here that are known to all of us. So I think, as much as the church is insisting on abstinence, which is very good, it's very good.
It's good
and amazing. Yes, it also needs to tell.
To what age?
To give,
yes, age.
I think so long as a child, because when you're looking at the sexual debut, especially in a country like Kenya right now, you realize that children as young as 15 years are very busy having sex. So what does that
15 years.
mean?
It tells you
15 years.
Yeah, and the way I get into church here is that I was shocked when I went to my first camp. Actually, it was held in your school where you are teaching now.
Yeah.
And that's the first time I've ever heard about a pastor talking about sex on a positive way.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm 17, 18 years old. I've been told, sex bad, abstain. And here I am with it's a youth retreat. They call it youth retreat. It's youth conference. You are 17 years old. It's between 17 and 35. So everything is being taught openly. It's being talked to openly. But the same person who has been telling me abstain is now here opening and encouraging it and talking literally about it. And I'm like, I'm confused here. What is this guy talking about?
So Alex, to start with, as much as we want to discourage our young people, our young boys and girls to stop having early sex, maybe we need to stop demonizing sex, because the truth is sex is not bad, and we all know that. And it should not be reflected in a negative way, because the truth is it's good, and even the church, even the pastor knows that. And so because it's really sad that
a timing,
you can demonize.
My whole thing is a timing. When
I do understand, even when it's 10 years, it should still be reflected in a positive way. When we are talking to this 15-year-old, can you stop telling them to abstain because sex is bad? Can you tell them to abstain because, yes, sex is good and sex has its own consequences? Let's focus on the consequences of sex.
Are they abstaining because it's immoral, or are they abstaining because of the consequences of the sex? That's why we are losing a step. We are telling you to abstain because of the consequences of what's going to happen if you have irresponsible sex. Not that because, well, it's immoral. Are they going to say at that age is premarital sex, it's bad, but you're preaching to the wrong crowd with a lot of energy, with the blood running hot in your system, and a lot of curiosity. So I think from my own understanding, my personal opinion, my personal view of it was, and the way I grew up was because I did not engage in that problem because it was bad, but because of consequences.
So I love the fact that for you actually abstained because of the consequences.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, unfortunately, in our churches, you realize that we are not told of the consequences. Very sad. We are only told that the Bible is against it, but we are not told why. And you realize that since time immemorial, we are all interested in the why. The why is so much important. So instead of saying that it's bad and it's demonic, can you tell them this is the reason as to why you should what? You should abstain. Number one, pregnancies, HIV, STIs, and such. But we need to stop demonizing it, because you realize that this is something that you've instilled in this person. And there's a time when you'll still need to tell them that sex is actually good, especially when they're looking maybe for a partner to get married to. How are you going to now take out what you told them at the age of 15, that this is demonic?
The raw inferiority complex of the people who are so born again, who are so full of spirit, they'll never get anyone to marry, or they have no guts to ask a person, hey, can I get your number, please? Yeah, some of those people who have zero courage to approach a young lady and ask, hey, can I have your number? Or even a young lady to approach, to show any interest. By the way, you look nice. I like you. I like to put you to be my right partner, because all this negativity about this thing have been instilled in me. It's wreaking havoc in me, and I'm like, oh, my self-confidence to approach my opposite gender to ask them for be a right partner, it's way too low.
Yeah.
And that's a problem anyway. Go ahead.
Yeah, Alex, at the same time, talking of the issues of maybe being in a position to tell someone confidently, to compliment a person of the opposite gender, especially among adolescents, confidently, you realize that this is also a part of sex education. And when you talk of understanding healthy and unhealthy relationships, so you realize that sex education helps a person know how to communicate well, and also gives a young person issues, skills such as conflict management and also negotiation skills around sexual activities. And you realize that to start with, we can't make an assumption that these 15-year-olds are not. We can't assume that they are not asked by their maybe people older than them or their peers to have sex with them. Through this, they'll be asked because they are interacting amongst themselves. Now, how is this person in a position to say no? What will make them say no? So you realize that they need to understand the issues to do with negotiation skills, saying, no, I don't want this, and it's because of this and this and this. And you realize that when they are negotiating, there might emerge some conflict still. So what happens? They also need to understand the issues of conflict management skills. And this is also taught when you talk of understanding healthy relationships still under sexual education. And this is why I said, and I lack of this, when our adolescents and young people lack this, you realize that we have a lot of unhealthy relationships which are full of violence. And if you've been watching news, especially around here, recently in the school I was in, there's a young couple, or do I call it even a young couple, a boyfriend who killed the girlfriend and killed himself. You also hear of a man that has hanged himself because a girl said no, or you hear that a girl has hanged herself. Yes. So you realize that this is because there's a gap when you talk of how these people are relating. Yeah, there's a gap in our relationship life. So you realize, and it's very unhealthy. And so when you're talking about sex education, we need to equip our adolescents and the young people with strategies to notice or to recognize a healthy pattern in a relationship, and also to recognize an unhealthy pattern, and also to know, very importantly, to know when to quit and when to say no to an unhealthy relationship, whether it's an intimate relationship or a friendship relationship.
All right, my friend, we are running out of time anyway, but we're gonna continue this debate next week and seems to be a lot on this, and you're gonna continue to talk young adults. And one more question before I go is I'm gonna ask you a question, and anyone can answer this question. And we have a judge in Kenya, I think 2 days before yesterday, and say that all women should be paid for the job they do in their houses. And I tend to disagree with that lady, and I said, if you get pregnant, you should be paying your pregnant woman a salary. And I was like, wow, is this about wrath or is it about money? And I was like, this judge must be watching Jerry Springer show where anyway, these people has no respect for men. Anyway, what do you guys think? Final one. Should they women be paid to be housewives? And also, one question I was asking myself, what generation is this woman talking about? The 3/4 of women in the work, 3/4 of the people in the workforce in Kenya is pretty much women, not men. What is she talking about? Does she understand which generation she is living in right now? What's your take?
So here's what I think. Maybe before Olivia says, and this is a personal opinion. So please, whoever is watching or listening, please don't take it personal, because this is what I think. So I think to start with, I tried to understand the judge in two ways. The first one is that anytime that I'm pregnant, I should be paid. No, that's not okay, because people might take advantage of that, because I can decide to be getting pregnant for every man that I get out here, and they'll be paying me anyway. And so that's not okay.
Paying child support. That's why I said what I was saying. She was watching Jerry Springer.
But there's also this other side of this woman that is not working. This housewife, and she's not working, and number two, maybe to get to a point where they are divorcing with the husband. And so you realize that maybe during the ruling, it said that the woman contributed to nothing in this marriage or in the investment that the man maybe has made. So I found it wrong, because you realize that when you talk of the issues of housekeeping, the issues of nurturing children, taking care of this man, maybe job. Before going to work, and so, yeah, that's a full-time job. And so if we said that this woman contributed to nothing, she was staying in the house. So you realize when we say that she contributed to nothing, that is very wrong. It's absolutely wrong. So if we are talking of issues with people separating or parting ways, we can't say that this housewife contributed to nothing. No, what she did, that was full-time job. But the issues of paying for pregnancy, oh no, please don't.
And
no,
we can't accept that. So if I have to pay my wife because she cooks, she cleans, and she does laundry, and so are we gonna stop? People gonna stop getting married? They can just say, hey, you know what? I cannot afford to pay. What do you think, Olivia and Esther, as we close? We are running out of time.
Okay. I think I'm going to agree with Margaret. If it's on the issue of the divorce, it's only right that the woman gets something because she was contributing to the smooth running of the household. But if people are in a marriage, they're in love, there's no need to pay the lady. It's 50-50. The man is bringing financial help.
Actually, we discourage 50-50 when we, tomorrow my show is about marriage, tomorrow at the same time at 11 p.m.
Okay.
We discourage 50-50 and we put all the money together and we sit down and we discuss what are we going to do with this money, because everybody is working, everybody's contributing. All you have to do is an agreement of what you're going to do with the money. And if you want to live a miserable life, go to 50-50 and my money is for this and for that. No. That's above your age. That's above your age. You're not going to discuss that about.
Alex, let me finish. I was going to say that the man is bringing the financial help to the table and the lady is bringing the normal running of the household. That's where the 50-50 comes in. But when you combine them together, when you combine them together, we have a smooth running household, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's why I was saying, if they're in a marriage, the lady should not get anything because they are both in it for the love or maybe for companionship or whatever. But if a divorce occurs, I think the lady should get something.
Yeah, I think that's something. And I'm gonna tell you one
opinion.
I'm gonna tell you one secret before I go, because you're still young. Actually, ladies are the one who manages the money. They run it the best. And if
we are the best.
Yes, ladies, I'm not telling you a secret. If you are in love with a man, and actually you're gonna become the house treasurer. You can run. Women are the best as on managing money. You didn't hear from me. I didn't say anything.
True. True.
Yeah. So when you put that up, even the cash will flow, and you can manage the cash. But invest wisely. Don't go take all your money to your mother and your people. Anyway, I think that's gonna be it for us. The past time, and we're gonna continue this discussion maybe in a week or so. And I thank all your viewers from all over the world. This is Diaspora Media Max Radio, and you can go there on Facebook. You can like us. It's Diaspora Media Max Radio, and you can be notified when we come live. And also, because Facebook is free, we may not get it next time. You can go ahead and download our app. It's Diaspora Media Max /TV or Diaspora Media Max Radio. It's there on the App Store. If you have Google, if you have iPhone App Store, you can go ahead and download that. Also, you can listen to us live or watch us live at www.diasporamediamax.com. That's the ways you can listen to us, or you can watch us, and God will bless you. Thank you very much, Margaret, and thank you very much, Olivia and Esther. We're going to be sharing information later in the show about how you're going to be reached, about the good service you are doing. And thank you very much for deciding to take another job, even if that's not what you went to college for. And I challenge all young people out there. Guess what? Yes, I have 2 bachelor's degrees, and I have to change my career very quick when I realize that this other career is not giving me as much money, or as I cannot make a life out of this career. And you don't realize that until you graduated from school. There's nothing I can do much with this career. And that's when you get your challenge and do something that doesn't have to do anything with your career, so long as you're making a good living out of what you're doing, and you enjoy what you're doing, and you love what you're doing. And with that, I will say goodbye all. And Esther and Margaret, give us your final one, the final one.
So thank you so much. Thank you for hosting me. And my final word will be, and I think that I also started with this, that each and every person in the society has the responsibility to prepare young people for adulting. And this is by providing them with the appropriate sexual education tools to help them to go through the tough choices that they face in their teenage and in their younghood. So that's a challenge that I'm giving to all of us. Let's do our best and our parts. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And till next time, goodbye.
Welcome to One Man at a Time, the KEMEN Show. Please like and subscribe to our channel.
The KEMEN Show. We are strong together.